bumping away and streaming for all to see. El Cachorro, El Cachorro. We should draw superheroes here today for you and me. El Cachorro, El Cachorro.
What's up, Cachorro? It's time for another movie review, and this is one that people may have been more interested in. I saw Kraven the Hunter. Now, it's a Sony Spider-Man movie, so I'm not expecting it to be great. And it's a movie that's going to automatically get trashed on because it's a Sony Spider-Man movie. We'll get more into that point here towards the end. But the one thing I was hoping for was the fact that this has an R rating. So it's like, all right, well, maybe, hopefully, I'm looking forward to dumb fun. And it's kind of a mixed bag. There's stuff that I really enjoyed, and there's things that was kind of as boring and over the top. So it's a hard one to rate. So I give it a 5, which is right on par to IMDb there. Because it just drags down a little bit enough to where it just doesn't go where I want it to go. All right, so first we'll go with the acting. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays Kraven. Russell Crowe plays his father, who, by the way, I will say right now, is Russell Crowe sounds like a better Kraven than Aaron Taylor Johnson does. He's got the voice that sounds like Kraven. But I didn't, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character I thought was fine. Russell Crowe's his father, who's all about, survival of the fittest and stuff like that, and you got to fight to survive and blah, blah. He's fine. He has a brother, Dimitri, that's played by Fred, who's like kind of, he's the his brother from a different mother because his father had like an affair, so he's kind of like a bastard son, but he's kind of weak and frail, so he's not well favored. Alexandro Nevio plays Leski Sistevich, who's the Rhino. Weird, quirky character, but when he turns into the Rhino, it's really bad CGI. He looks really bad. Then we have Christopher Abbott playing the Foreigner. Never even heard of that character, but it's whatever character. Then the big thing here is Calypso, played by Ariana DeBois. Yeah, she felt like she was phoning it in. She felt like she just was cashing a paycheck. She did not really feel like she was putting much into her performance. The story was up and down. There's parts, like I said, there's parts where, the fights were pretty good. The kills were pretty good. The violence there was really well. So I got that. And there's parts where you can feel the cockiness of Kraven. He portrayed the cockiness of Kraven, being like, "Yeah, I'm the badass. I'm the best hunter in the world." Those parts were great. But the story just got this back and forth. Is he good? Is he evil? It's kind of just a mess. So yeah, I give it a 5. It was average. When I finally saw Madam Web, I didn't hate it, but I do think this is better than Madam Web. I think this is better than Morbius. Probably keep all 3 Venoms above it, though. So I don't think it beats any of the Venoms. The movie is flopping horribly bad. $110 million budget. It's only made 44.5 worldwide so far. So not doing good well, but there's also stories behind that too. We'll talk about. I'm going to say this movie might go a little on because we're going to do a little rant at the end there. But yeah, it's just okay. I don't know what that's from. So yeah, it's like I said, a 5. So now we break it down. So we open up with a scene of some prisoners being transported to a prison. We find our character is one of the prisoners. This it's like a Siberian Russian prison. He gets put in a cell, and his cellmate's like, "I don't like roommates." And he's like, "Dude, he's like, make a deal. If I'm here any longer than 3 days, then you can kill me." It's like nobody escapes. So then he gets in an incident in the yard. He gets taken to, which I thought was the warden, but maybe it was just another inmate who had a fancier cell. Not quite positive how that works, but some guy who's like a big gun runner. And then he breaks out into the Kraven. He goes on the thing. He kills them all. Breaks out of the prison and takes off running. There was this part where the bus stopped to let people. I think it was like use the bathroom, and they couldn't find a prisoner, and they found him just standing there outside the bus. Like there was like a joke about it. So then they're going back in. They find that prisoner. I guess that prisoner. The reason why he was missing is because Kraven got him, killed him, and put his clothes on so he could pretend to be that prisoner. That's how he got into the prison. Because they found the other guy's dead body in the snow. So we get an action scene on how he is as Kraven. Then we get a flashback to first starts with the Calypso chick playing with tarot cards, and her grandmother gives her this liquid thing that says she'll know when to use it, and it can bring someone back from the dead, and all that good stuff. Then we go to the two brothers. They're getting taken out of school because Sergei's mother has died, but he's not taking them to the funeral. He's taking them to go hunting to get them, over, man them up and get them over it. Supposedly there was a falling out where he thought the mother was weak because she had maybe had some mental disorders. Sergei believes he turned his back on her and he wouldn't let him see his mother. And so there was already some animosity there. Both of the brothers don't seem like they really care for the father much at all because he's very demanding and strict and letting them, push them to do this stuff. So they takes him on a hunting trip to teach him to man him up by having him kill. We meet our other villain there because he tries to talk to what's her name? I can't remember the names. He tries to talk to Nikolai to make some kind of deal. He says, "Hey, I'm with my sons. Leave me the hell alone. Don't fucking talk to me." Oops, I cursed. But yeah, so he's like, pretty much puts the guy in his place. And then there's a tale about some mysterious magical lion that supposedly goes around that no one can kill. So they pre-orders that. Then the next day, the brothers kind of got off from the group a little bit while they're talking, and they're confronted by this beast lion. And Sergei first raises his gun, but then he doesn't take the shot and he lowers his gun. Then the father shows up and takes some shots at the lion, and then the lion pounces, attacks Sergei, and then bites him and claws at him a little bit, and then picks him up and walks off with him. He takes it. Then we go back to Calypso, who's on a tank with her parents now. Some kind of calling calls to her, and she goes out and she confronts the lion holding Sergio, and he drops him. And I guess he drops him into some. Show something about some blood that drips on him. I don't know if it's the lion's blood from a shot or it's supposed to be his own blood dripping on him. But she gives him the magical liquid thing, and that's what brings him back to life, and that's how he gets all his animal powers. So he wasn't bitten by a radioactive lion. He was given some magical special elixir. Don't know if that makes it better or not, but the trailer made it look like it was a radioactive lion. They got bit by a special lion with special powers. Wakes up in the hospital. His brother shows up. His dad shows up. Doesn't want to let him because they're all surprised how he lived. He's going home. Takes him home. His dad killed the lion. Now the head's on the wall and mounted his head on the wall. And I guess gets surgery. He's talking about making surgery now, come into the business and everything like that. And he was also upset he didn't pull the trigger. Sergi rebels, sneaks out. We see a little glimpse of his powers as he kind of falls off the roof and lands and makes a perfect hero landing. So he kind of runs away. He gets caught by his little brother and says, "Don't leave me with him." And he goes, "I can't stay here. I have to go. I'll be back for you." So he takes off. He goes to the special land in, I think it was Siberia that his mother owned. And he starts living out there and he starts figuring out he has animal powers and training himself. He comes across some poachers, takes them down, gets led back to their boss, finds out like this little book of all the names of all these evil people. So he's starting to hunt the people on the list. Calypso, now grown up and in London, is a lawyer. I think she was some kind of criminal investigator. And she had a co-worker friend that was killed because they were getting too close. So Kraven's like, "Hey, I can help." Some kind of confronts her because he knows who she is. He's like, "Hey, I can help you with your friend," and stuff like that. And kind of says, "Hey, I'm the boy that, with the lion." And so he kind of lets her know who he is. So they kind of form a partnership. Meanwhile, Kraven does go back and visits his brother on his birthday. The dad shows up. They have this awkward reunion. Kraven still is refusing to come through. Meanwhile, the Rhino's making a plea for powers. He's noticing that, the Hunter's taking out, some big players are getting taken out. So he's trying to make his play now. So now he's got some kind of medical thing hooked up to him where if he disconnects it, it kind of shows that his skin starts getting like rock hard and he has to keep the thing on him to keep him as a human. So he's making a play for power. So he tries to take out Nikolai. And eventually he kind of finds out that the bounty hunter, the hunter that's taking everybody out, he finds out who he is, and he kidnaps the brother, the smaller brother, to lure him out. So we get a couple, so we get some really cool action sequences there, and finally, there's a sanctuary that he got trapped and misled to where to go from there. Meanwhile, he's also caught in some guy called the Foreigner who can like move really fast, like hypnotize you and then moves really fast and kill you. Who's also after Kraven because Kraven took out someone close to him about his boss or something like that. So he's also wants Kraven. The Rhino tries to get the brother to flip on the father, but he refuses. But decides to keep him alive just because Kraven shows up at their hideout. I can't remember what happened in that fight. Somehow they found out. So Kraven gets away. The girl, he has to go save the girl Calypso as well because they're after her now because there was a big trap. So they go back to the Siberia place, the holdout in Siberia, where they figure that that's where he's hiding. So they go on a big trip to go there to kill him, and then you get the big final battle. Kraven takes out, or the chick actually, Calypso takes out the Foreigner guy after he's poisoned Kraven with his toxin. Then he goes and he has a big fight down with the Rhino where he ends up killing the Rhino. But then we find out this was all a setup by their father. The father knew his son was the famous hunter, but he knew he wouldn't go take out his enemies if he asked him to. So the dad set the whole thing up. Had the brother get kidnapped as a calculated risk because he knows that would be the only way he could get Kraven to go after the Rhino and take him out. So he's eliminating all the pawns. So ends up with a scene where I guess he was out on a hunting trip, and Kraven finds him in the hunting and refuses to, kind of puts him down and walks away, and we see this big ass grizzly bear coming after him, and Nikolai grabs his gun, but Kraven took the bullet, so he gets mauled by the bear and killed by the bear. He goes back to join up with his brother now, who's now more cockier and ever. He's a little more. He's now taking over the family business. He won't sell the business, and Kraven's like, "Wait, you just get rid of the business. You can live a normal life now." We find out he's also had some medical experiments done because they name dropped somebody in America, which I meant to remember the name and look it up to see if it was how it ties in. I imagine it has to tie in the Spider-Man somehow. Because there was one there was one Spider-Man Easter egg. So when Kraven got shot with this poison, it's supposed to make him hallucinate things that he's scared of, and he hallucinates all these spiders coming down after him. So he's like scared of spiders. So all these spiders are coming after him. Ha ha ha! There's your Spider-Man reference. but yeah, so the brother met with the scientist guy. Now he can shape shift himself into anybody he wants. So he is now the Chameleon, which I do not believe the Chameleon was Kraven's brother from the comic book. So I think that was a leap. So his brother's now the Chameleon, and he says, "Your dad left you one more present." So he goes back to the mansion. The lion head's gone, and his dad made him the famous Kraven vest with the fur thing around it. So he kind of puts it on. He does a pose, and he does this. He sits down in it like a big chair, and he strikes the Kraven pose, the famous comic book Kraven pose. That's how it ends. No cut, no, because they've already announced this was the final movie, so there was no post-credit scenes because there's nowhere this is going to go. Which also go back to, so we'll talk about what that did to the movie too. So he says there's parts of it where it's like he's treading the line of he's a good guy, he's a bad guy, he's killing people, but they're all supposedly these bad guys, these animal poachers, gun smugglers, drug dealers. So he's taking out supposedly really bad people. But he's cocky at the same time. He doesn't turn. He knows his brother and dad are evil, but he doesn't do anything about. He ignores them. So yeah, it's kind of like I'm not sure if he's a hero or not a hero. I think that's the problem with these movies is they're trying to set up these villains and they kind of don't know where they're going to set them. Like Morbius kind of did a heroic thing, but yet he supposed to team up with Vulture at the end. The only one that's kind of superhero that plays the anti-hero role was Venom. The other one, Madam Web, I guess, was kind of a hero, but they kind of quickly dictated her out of their universe real quick after that flop. So, the Sony Spider-Man problem. Now, do I have a problem with them doing their villain movies? No. It's fine. Because look, folks, everybody give it back to Marvel. Marvel can't even handle their own roster. Okay? They were putting out a good deal amount of quality, and it was some of the CGIs and stuff was looking bad. So then they blamed it all on, we're doing too much, we're overworking everybody. You could hire more people. You're a multi-billion-dollar company. So why do you hey, we can only use the same 20 guys for all the CGI in every Marvel movie, or you could just hire 30 more people. And people went along with this. It was like, it's we want quality over quantity, and there's too much stuff to watch. Fuck you. If I'm paying $20 a goddamn month for Disney Plus, I want a Marvel show every freaking week on Disney Plus. Why are you paying for a streaming service for somebody who puts out a show for a couple months, then takes about a month or two off, puts out another show, then now that one ends, and they put out another show? A slow drip of shows. Maybe sometimes you might get 2 or 3. You're only getting maybe 2 or 3 a year. No, you got all this Marvel content, all these Marvel characters. Put shit out to watch. People don't have to watch every freaking show. Hey, if you don't care about Miss Marvel, then don't watch the Miss Marvel show. You can watch the Daredevil show. People that like Miss Marvel can watch the Miss Marvel show. Speculate your budgets obviously accordingly. You know, one show's not going to be as popular as another. That's fine. More animated stuff. You can do more animated stuff. To top that off, they do 2 to 3 movies per year. I mean, we can't get the Blade movie going. Let's see. What we have not had so far. We have not had a Shang-Chi sequel yet. And that movie came out. That came out before COVID? It came out before COVID. So they can't even get the Shang-Chi sequel out. They're still trying to work on the X-Men stuff. It took them 5 years to make a Deadpool movie. We're getting the first. I mean, the new Captain America had a TV show for a minute, but then he got his own movie. They're already overswamped with what they got. The only thing that comes out at a reasonable pace is the Spider-Man movies, and that's only because Sony makes them. Sony says, hey, put out the movie now. Otherwise, it takes them like 5 years or more because they're trying to keep everything in line because everything's got to connect to everything. No, it doesn't. You can do standalone stuff. Sometimes it's okay. Not everything has to connect to everything. People have gotten so attached to that. That's the problem with this new is they're trying to do other stuff, but they're trying to connect it to other stuff that it shouldn't connect to. So no, they do not need to give it back to Marvel because Marvel can't do anything. It's not like Marvel can do anything with these characters either. So yes, Sony's universe is fine. Maybe, yes, they probably need to set up a hero. You do the villain movies and then set up a hero movie. I mean, I don't understand why you could always use a different Spider-Man, but they want to connect it to the MCU so bad. I mean, obviously Marvel doesn't want you to connect it to the MCU. I mean, if you don't want to use a different Spider-Man, you could always bring in a different Spider character. You have Ghost Spider. You have Miles Morales. Multiple different Spider-Man characters. Make one of them the Spider-Man of your universe. You can set them up similar. You can still do some of these movie setups at the end there and some villain setup movies. It would be fine. So it's fine to have these movies. It gives you more options to watch. Back in the day, you would have them doing Spider-Man movies. You would have Fox doing their movies, and you would have Marvel doing their movies. So you were getting, lots of Marvel stuff. Now you're just stuck to what MCU pushes out, and they're struggling. Their stuff hasn't even been super great of late. Some other. So that's what we got to. So here's what you need. So you need some better writing done. You come with a better plan. Sony first off, for it to work. Let's see. Where's the crew? Oh, nope. Get rid of this guy. Also would help. Let's see. Yeah, he's behind us because he's behind everything. Look, he made Borderlands. So if we look at his stuff, Venom did so. Borderlands was a flop. Don't really think he had that much of a connection to X-Men 97. I think it was just a honorary thing. That was good. That was not done too well. Uncharted was not great. He wasn't. That has nothing to do with him. That was that terrible Carnage. Tarzan and TV series. I don't even know what that is. The Ghost in the Shell movie. That was not well liked. Another. This guy does subpar work. He's not good. This guy, he's well past his prime. And Amy Pascal, too. She's also terrible. See, what was it? She said something about Black Knight using Black Cat in the next Spider-Man. Anna Taylor-Joy's Black Cat. Like, well, I don't know. We're not there yet, and we have so many characters used, or so many female characters. Like, no, you've already used Aunt May and Mary Jane. The only other two big ones left are Gwen Stacy and Black Cat. Those are the only big female Spider-Man characters. So get rid of both those two. Find yourself a James Gunn or a Kevin Feige to run your Spider-Man universe, and it'll be fine. The other thing that also hurt this movie was they came out and announced before the movie even was released, the Spider-Man universe is dead. We're stopping the current universe. You just shot your movie. Did you not learn what the DC did that when they hired James Gunn and he was going to reboot the whole DC universe? But they still had an Aquaman movie, a Flash movie, a Blue Beetle movie, all scheduled to come out. Shazam too. So yeah, it kind of told everybody, like, well, these movies are going nowhere because they're getting rebooted. James is going to try to do his best. Like, maybe I'll keep them on. Sure. And people like, oh, he said all this stuff. I was like, he said all that stuff to try and help the movies out a little bit because, yeah, you knew the movies were dead in the water. So maybe don't say that before your movie comes out, first off. This probably would be a good first sign. You could have just waited till after the movie had its theater run and said, all right, we've decided this is the end of the Spider-Man universe. And then you could have made the announcement. Not before you release the movie, you moron. Then I just read that he recently came out and said something as well, which I found stuff I liked, there's some truth to what he said and some not truth. And I had like a little run over some Twitter moron. Sony Pictures CEO confirms they are rethinking the future of the Spider-Man villain spin-off films. Kraven the Hunter is the worst launch since he became CEO in 2017. Doesn't think they are bad films and blames the critics for crucifying them. If we put another one out, it's going to get destroyed no matter how good or bad it is. There's correct and wrong in that. Don't think they're bad films. They're not great films either. I'm not going to lie. I mean, some of them were fun to watch, and most of them were kind of just okay films. Madam Web was not terrible. It was okay. Morbius was just okay. The Venom movies are fun, and this movie was just okay. So they're not great films. But the critics do crucify them. That part's true, and so does the internet. If you put another one out, it's just going to get destroyed no matter how good it is. That is very true. Because Sony has this stigma. Because people are sheep and they're trained. As soon as you put something out, it's automatically hated. Same thing we started having the Fox too. As long as it was not being made by Marvel, it's automatically hated. So funny, people would hate that shit. But then Marvel would put out the Marvels, Ant-Man, She-Hulk. And that shit gets hated. So this stuff's hated, give it to Marvel. Then when Marvel puts out stuff, it's like, oh my God, Marvel stuff sucks. Make up your fucking mind. Who you're rooting for here? Give that shit to them because they're making shit. The internet, the online internet community is just programmed to hate these days. They hate Star Wars. They hate Marvel. They hate DC. They hate the Sony Spider-Man stuff. They hate Lord of the Rings. They hate everything. All the fan bases, they just hate everything. Because that's all it is. That's all the internet has turned into, is a toxic hate on everything. YouTubers just hate on everything because that gets them views and gets them clicks. I don't get views and clicks because I don't sit around saying, oh my God, that's woke. Oh, that's terrible. Because normally I try and find what's good in something. Watch out, because I think this clicks me off here in a minute. But, so there's truth in, so his movies aren't great, but there is truth to that his movies are going to get, anytime they put anything else, is automatically going to get hated on. So yeah, they need to either rethink and maybe come up with a better plan. And they got to find something. Maybe they definitely probably need to put a Spider-Man in it to get any kind of fan reaction to hopefully go for them. because they have the stigma, and it's fun, and it's the hip thing to do is to always hate on something without giving it a shot. But there's my little rant for that. As I said, unfortunately, this movie was not as dumb fun as I was hoping to be. It was okay. It was all right. It had some good battles and good fights and good gore. But yeah, we'll wrap it up here because this was long. Until next time, Cachorro out.